The village of Apetu was quiet that evening. The drums had stopped. The dancers were gone. The wedding was over, but I couldn't sleep. I sat alone in the big hut the chief had given me. My body was clean, my wrapper fresh, but my heart was heavy. The fire in the clay lamp flickered on the wall. Outside, the crickets sang like they didn't know my world had changed. I was now the chief's new wife, his fourth. People called me lucky. My mother had whispered before the ceremony, "Don't shame us. The chief is rich. He chose you. Smile and be grateful." But I didn't feel grateful. I didn't smile. I didn't laugh. The chief was old, his belly round, his eyes always half shut, his breath thick with snuff and palm wine. When he held my hand, his fingers felt like dry, dying leaves. I was just 19. I wanted to learn tailoring. I wanted to marry someone young, someone I chose. But instead, I was locked in this compound, behind guarded gates, surrounded by wives who barely spoke, and a husband who smelled of pepper soup and pride. That night when he entered my hut, I kept my eyes on the floor. He touched my shoulder and said, "You are mine now." I didn't reply. He didn't stay long. A few minutes later, he stood, tied his wrapper, and left. I sat in silence, my chest tight. Then I saw him, outside, near the water pot, bare-chested, sweating, holding a small lantern. Ayula. He was one of the chief's youngest servants, just a few years older than me. He swept the compound in the mornings, fetched water for the wives, and helped in the kitchen at night. I had seen him before, but never like that. His skin looked like polished ebony under the moon. His arms strong, eyes full of something soft, something kind. I watched him from my window. He looked up and saw me. I didn't hide. Our eyes met. He nodded. I nodded back. We didn't speak, but something began. The days passed slowly. I did what was expected. Walked the compound. Stayed quiet. Pretended. But at night, I waited for Ayula to pass by my hut. Sometimes he brought firewood, sometimes water, sometimes nothing at all. But whenever he came near, my heart beat louder than any drum. One night, when the moon was bright, I stepped out. The chief had gone to sleep. Ayula was by the kitchen washing plates. "Good evening," I said. He looked up. "Good evening, madam." "Don't call me madam," I said gently. "My name is Tinwola." He smiled. "Yes, Tinwola." We stood there close, the trees rustled above us. "Are you happy here?" he asked. I looked down. "No," I whispered. That night I sat beside him. We talked until the moon was high. I laughed, really laughed. He showed me a cut on his hand and I cleaned it with warm water. His eyes stayed on my face. When I stood to leave, he touched my hand. I didn't pull away. The kitchen hut became ours. It was small, smoky, and warm, with the smell of yam and palm oil. No one came there at night. Every evening, after the chief snored into sleep, I would slip out. Ayula would be waiting. At first, we only talked. Then we held hands. Then we kissed, slow, soft, and careful. One night, as rain tapped gently on the roof, he untied my wrapper. I lay back on the kitchen mat. He kissed my neck, my chest, my belly. "Don't stop," I whispered. He did not stop for a long time. Never had I felt so much pleasure. We continued like that for many nights. Our love was quiet and hidden, but it burned hot, sweet, alive. But the compound had eyes. Ayalode, the chief's oldest wife, began to watch me. "You smile too much for someone married to an old man," she said one morning. I said nothing. Another day, Mama Ronke, the chief's second wife, saw Ayula walking past my hut late at night. She watched him closely. She told the guard. The whispers spread like smoke. But I didn't know. I only knew his touch, his voice, his promises. One night, the moon was full. I waited in the kitchen hut, wearing a light wrapper. I had rubbed scented oil on my body. My skin glowed in the firelight. When Ayula entered, he closed the door quietly. We didn't speak. We kissed, deeply. I wrapped my legs around him. The mat creaked beneath us. We moved like dancers who had waited too long. Afterwards, we lay there skin to skin. I want to run away with you, I said. He looked at me. Where will we go? Anywhere, away from this place. I want to belong to you, not to him. I will take you, he said, when the time is right. I smiled. My eyes closed, but someone had been listening. Baba Ganyu, the chief's guard, had been following Ayula. That night, he saw everything. He heard everything. He watched our shadows move across the wall. The next morning, he went to the chief. Your new wife is not loyal, he said. She lies with your servant in the kitchen like a low woman. The chief's face darkened. Call them, he said. They brought us to the courtyard. The wives were there, the guards, even the elders. The chief sat with his red cap and long agbada. He looked at Ayula with fire in his eyes. You, that I fed, clothed and trusted, you slept with my wife? Ayula stepped forward. Yes, I love her. Gasps echoed. I stepped forward too. I love him. I never asked to marry you. My parents forced me. The chief's face twisted, but he smiled, a cold, cruel smile. Take the boy, he said. Beat him, then send him far from this village. If he returns, he dies. And the girl? Someone asked. She will stay. She will never leave this compound. She will never speak of love again. I cried out, why punish love? No one answered. That night, they beat Ayula behind the compound. I watched through my window. I bit my hand to stop my screams. They dragged him away. Blood on his back, dust in his hair. I never saw him again. Days passed, then weeks. I stopped eating. My wrapper hung loose. My eyes dimmed. Each night I returned to the kitchen hut, sat on the mat, remembered his touch, his voice, his promise. 3 moons passed. Then one morning, I woke up with sickness in my belly. My breasts were heavy. My body had changed. A palace maid looked at me with wide eyes. You carry a child, she whispered. I touched my stomach, and I smiled, for the first time since they took him from me. I never told the chief, let him think the child was his. But I knew the truth. Ayula never left me. Years passed. I raised our son in silence. He had Ayula's eyes, Ayula's smile. At night, I told him stories of a brave young man who once loved a girl under the moon in a smoky kitchen filled with dreams. I never married again. I never ran away, but I never forgot. Because on some nights, when the fire flickers and the wind hums through the compound, I can still feel his breath on my skin, and I whisper into the darkness, you touched me with love, and I will carry it forever.